Hello and welcome, Mark here, and in this episode we're going to take a look at shaping by increasing. And these are crochet increasing. As you can see, I have a small sample here to just start us off with. I'm going to take a look at single increasing, double increasing, and then a multiple increasing across the row, just to so you can see how that's worked. I'm using the treble crochet because the principle is the same no matter really which stitch you use, because crochet increasing is the easiest thing to do. Increasing, all you have to do really is just put more stitches in. That's as easy as that. No special requirements or techniques needed. Right, just checking my notes there. Yeah, that's everything I need to say about this really, but that is crochet there. And so with all that said and done, let's get crafting, shall we? Right, first up, a single increasing. Now increasing can be worked either into the first stitch or into the second stitch, so we'll have a look at both. So you make turning chain however where you wish, and we'll put a stitch into the same stitch as the turning chain, and there you go. That is an increase, and you can work them into the first stitch or the second stitch, doesn't make any difference, but we'll just see how it looks. Now shaping comes handy when you're actually making things like sleeves or shawls. See, I've only put one stitch into there, so just add one more, and there we are. And that is an increasing. Now you might be looking at that thinking, well, why is it sticking out more on this side? Well, at the beginning of the row you have a turning chain, and turning chain is smaller, I should say thinner than a standard stitch, so it doesn't stick out as much at that end. At the other end you've got two full stitches, but they're worked into the top of a turning chain, so that ends is why it fans out more. We'll just work it row straight to straighten that up, and then I shall be back with you to see how it looks increasing into the next stitch in. So we'll do another increase this time, but this time we'll use the second stitch in, and you'll see how that looks. It does look neater. So you do your turning chain, and you do your increase into the next stitch, not the first but the second, and there you go. You put two stitches into one. That is how easy it is to increase in crochet. Now my yarn split there, I'll just do that again. Work up until you have two stitches remaining, and into that second to last is where you're going to do your increasing. So you do one stitch, need a bit more yarn there, and then do the second stitch. So now you have turned two into one, and then of course you finish the row into the top of the turning chain there. Now that looks just as fanned out, but I don't know, it just seems to look a little bit better to me. I don't know why, but it still fans out at this end because of all the full stitches, and at the beginning of the row it doesn't fan out as much because of the turning chain. So those are your single increases. Next up, we'll look at the double increases and what you shouldn't really do with a double increase. Yeah. So I'll be back with you in a moment. Right, there we go. Ready to start the double increasing, or should we say increasing by 2 stitches instead of 1. That's 2 instead of 1. I nearly got that the wrong way around there. And the biggest mistake people may tend to do, make the turning chain first, and the biggest mistake is putting all the stitches into 1. So now you've created 3 stitches from 1. We'll do the same again on the other end. And see how that looks. Right, up to the last stitch there, and we're going to work the double increase, or increasing by 2 stitches, all into the top of that turning chain. And you can tell, you know it's going to look, not going to look right, is it? Right, there you are. Look how much that fans out. It's not really a good method to put in all your increased stitches at the first stitch. It does look better if you use the second stitch in, and I can show you that if you wish. So I'll just make a row and we'll show you that. I'll work a standard row first, and then I should be right back with you. There we go, that's the standard row done. And then you can see this side fans out nicely, but this one is bulging out there, isn't it? It doesn't look right. So let's show you an alternative way of doing this. You do your turning chain however you wish, and then you double increase in the next stitch along. Not the first one, but the next one. And now I'll just work across this row. So pause the video and I'll be back with you in a moment. We're there now, yes. Right, I have 2 stitches left. And we're going to do the increase into that second to last stitch. And this is a better alternative, but it's not the best alternative. Turn 1 into 3. The hook doesn't want to go through that turning chain, does it? There you go. Now let's just have a look how that looks now. Now if we compare the fanning out there to this one, it does still fan out, but not as much, because you put those stitches away from the edge. So that is one alternative. The best alternative is to actually split your increases up. Of the best way of double increasing. You make your turning chain. Oh, went into the right. Couldn't see them while I was doing with the camera. Do an increase into the first stitch, and then go into the second stitch and do an increase in there as well. That is your best way of doing double increases, by splitting them up over 2 stitches. So you can either use the first and the second, or you could use the second and the third. So just work to the end of the row and do another double increase. So I'll catch up with you there, when I get to there. Right, almost to the end of the row there. I have 4 more stitches with a turning chain, and what I'm going to do on this side I'm going to do an increase in that one and an increase in that one. So I've got to the third stitch, and I'm going to put 2 stitches into that one, and then I'm going to put 2 stitches into the next one, and then of course the final stitch into the top of the turning chain. And these are the best way of doing a double increase, and you will see as soon as I lay it down, look how much neater that looks. By spreading out the increases over 2 stitches, you get a much better shaping going on. Right, that's it for that one. Now next up, I'm going to work a row straight just to tidy that row up, and then we're going to do a multiple increasing across the row. To finish off this tutorial, we're just going to have a look at actually multiple increases across the row. Now it's something you don't really come across that often, but you may do, or you may have a pattern that has that. There is many apps you can download that can actually help with where to place your stitches. You count how many you've got, how many you need to increase, and it will tell you how often you need to increase by, or where to increase. So let's just count how many we have on here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21 with a turning chain. So you need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you want 1 there. Then you're going to, I'm going to increase by 5 stitches, sorry, I forgot to say that. And I'll put 1 in the second stitch in, 1 in the second stitch there as well. So then how many stitches do we have in between? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's basically every 4th stitch. So we'll put 1 in there, then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, put 1 in there. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll go, do 1 in the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, do an increase in that one. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase that one there. It's just a quick glance of how to work out multiple increases across a row. And how does it look? Now, got your turning chain, and we're going to increase in the second stitch. Just getting a bit more yarn there. So then we work 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll increase into that one, into the same one there. Then we need to work 4 more stitches, but we're not increasing until we get into the 5th one this time. That's 2, 3, 4, and then into the 5th one we do a double stitch in there because we're increasing. So far we've done 1, 2 and 3 increases, and look how tidy that's already looking. A bit more yarn there. Soon run out of yarn when you're doing crochet. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're increasing into this 4th stitch as well, and we have 1 more increase to go, and we go 1, 2, 3 and 4. I don't seem to be pulling enough yarn off, do I? And we're down to 2 stitches left, and we're going to increase into that second to last. and then the final stitch into the top of the turning chain, which are always tough to get in, aren't they? And there we are. I came closer to the camera there just to make sure you can see it, and there you go. Right, I would work multiple stitches across the row and splitting them up so they look a lot more spaced out. And we got an increase here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. There's my 5 stitches increase. So I went from 21 to 26 stitches. That's really fanned it out there, hasn't it? It's really shaped that out. You don't really come across multiple increases, but just in case you do, there is apps to help you, or you can just do what I just did then. Find your middle stitch, decide where you're going to put them at the end, and then when you're going to put them, how many stitches in between. So there you go. That's everything for today. And if you like this video, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. And until next time, here on Marks Make Stitches. Bye.